Voordat die episode begin, wil ons net baie dankie sê aan NGK en GP Motorsport Tours, ons sponsors aan boord vir die volgende paar seasons. Baie dankie aan hulle. Soos altyd sal ek 'n link in die description los. Gaan check hulle asseblief uit en geniet hierdie episode. Ons het 'n special guest op met die naam van Robbie Louw en dit is amazing. So, geniet die episode julle.
How's dit julle en welkom terug na F1 in Afrikaans. Exciting reis oor 'n naweek by Mexico. Net 'n short disclaimer, die episode gaan in Engels wees. Ons het 'n baie groot spesiale gas. Hy is 'n simracer en hy doen boat racing ook. Robbie, welcome to F1 in Afrikaans, my friend. Thank you for taking the time and doing this show, podcast with us. How are you, brother?
Lekker, thank you. Thanks, guys, very much for having me. Yeah, it's good to be here. Sorry for converting F1 in Afrikaans to F1 in English basically today.
I mean, dude, it's okay because we've had a couple of people on before that, we did some podcasts, some episodes in English as well. So, I mean, it's kind of cool as well because, I mean, it shows that we're quite diverse. So, I mean, I'm quite happy with it. But from my side as well, welcome to the podcast. We are quite excited, actually very excited to have you on the podcast as well. And so I want to start off with this before we get to Mexico and all that. I need to ask this question. It is quite important, and whatever you say determines how good this is going to go for you. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay, yeah.
What team do you support, man?
I actually feel you when you ask me that because I can see with your shirt. But I'm not too sure. So I'm not sure if you're gonna be happy with it. I'm a Verstappen fan. I've been very cool for probably since Max joined when you're 17 years old. So be part of that for a while.
I mean that's all right. I mean I think you're wrong. But no, I'm joking. No, I'm just joking. Honestly, I'm just joking. No, that's awesome, man. It's actually quite cool. Like I said, to have you on, someone that loves F1. That is the main reason me and Chicken Wing actually started this podcasting. Is solely because we are absolutely in love with Formula One. I mean, we watch everything from practice to qualifying to sprint races to the main races. The interviews afterwards and all that. So, I mean, it is quite exciting to have you on this podcast. Thank you for joining as well. And I hope you enjoy the show and enjoy this. What is coming. Stefan, I'm gonna ask a few questions. Obviously, so how it's gonna work, I would say, I have my keyboard to the ready, so I'm gonna move from scene to scene. Let's start with this. How do you, Stefan, how do you feel about this weekend's race in Mexico, man?
The 20-second penalty that he got was, I think, deserved. But at the end of the day, Red Bull was nowhere again. At the moment, I feel Perez is not a team player. He's a very arrogant person at the moment. The comments that he made after the race is ridiculous. I mean, just because you have a contract till 2026 doesn't mean that you're gonna stay there. I think Robbie will agree with me. He has been in that environment with his rugby and so on. If you not perform, then they can terminate your contract like that. So I think he's very, very arrogant about that.
Let's do this. Robbie, how do you feel about Red Bull's performance now in Mexico? I'll give you my feedback as well, but I want to hear it from you first. How do you feel about the overall performance in Mexico?
Coming to Max's story, that first corner, I know for me definitely it was obviously, I know, going back to the whole controversy about what happened. Um, Obviously, that is a very hard corner for Norris to overtake on outside leg personally. This is just my personal opinion. I'm not having anyone. So he obviously did take a chance by going outside. He was ahead of the apex. But I think, and I could be wrong, and I know that second corner extremely stupid of Max, but it felt for me in that moment that it looked like Norris pulled to the side. I know he actually pulled for the wider line to come in, but I thought he actually was giving Max a position back at that moment. But then Max just dived in there, and so it was extremely shit. I mean, didn't even make the corner, but I just at that moment I was like, okay, cool, Norris is giving the position back, and that's what I thought initially that maybe Max thought that. But other than that, I'm not justifying anything. The penalties were deserved. They were talking about something about two of the McLaren, or one of the guys that started McLaren was on the board though. I feel the first penalty could have been a 5 second like Norris's one you got last weekend. That was the harsh second one. I don't know. That was 100% 10 second. I'm running out. He also made him make a stand for that. But yeah, I don't know how you feel about that, John.
Yeah. So I'm kind of in a weird position, regarding the fight between Norris and Verstappen. So funny enough, I told Stefan from the get-go that it is going to come down to a point where turn one, lap one, at the start, it's going to be just a nuisance. The thing is, these two guys are now in a position of challenging for the World Championship. There is no way neither of them are going to give up that corner. And you could say one was in front of the other. This one, had a bit of a late braking. This one had understeer. Um, Personally, I do agree with you, Robbie. I think a 5 to 10 second penalty would have been, um, you know, would have been okay. It would have been okay. Although I don't like. Let me rather say this. I like Max, but I also don't. I don't like him on the track. The
Yeah,
things that I've seen from him, the arrogance, slightly because now, he's won a couple of championships and all that. Like I don't feel the 20 second was deserved. I think a 10 second would have been okay. Um, but it is hard. It's hard to say one or the other. It is very, very hard because I also feel last weekend in Kota that Norris didn't deserve a 5 second penalty. Unfortunately, you could see Max and Norris both go off the road. Well, off the track, not road, I'm sorry. Off the track, and a 5 second penalty was awarded to Norris. I feel that was slightly a bit biased, seeing what happened between, I think it was a George and Piastri as
yeah,
well in Kota. I think it was Piastri and George, if I'm not mistaken. It feels like it was so long ago as well, so I apologize if I got that slightly a bit wrong. But I mean, overall, it was a good race. It was a good battle. I enjoyed it. The fact that, uh, you know, I think the safety car was kind of a saving grace as well,
yeah,
in a certain way. I don't know how I really feel about it, but I do feel it was kind of a saving grace. But 20 seconds, not. It's that's not okay. I
yeah,
feel that was slightly a bit either biased or just absolutely horrible. But we are not the FIA. That's the other thing. We
yeah,
are not the FIA. We can only say, well, tell people our opinions, which I would say 20 seconds was too much. I would have gone for a 10 second penalty. Still give Max kind of a fight, because 10 seconds isn't that bad. Because when I watched the pit stop,
yeah.
yo, that felt like a year. It
Yeah.
felt like a
No,
year that this guy was just sitting in the pits, and I'm
Oh,
like, guys, this can't be 20 seconds. It feels unreal.
mm,
And to see him drop down the list,
oh,
that was just, it was incredible. It was
yeah,
incredible. But I also want to, Robbie, I'll start with you, then I'll move over to Stefan. Stefan has touched on it slightly a little bit.
yeah,
Let's talk about the Perez situation. Now, Perez said a couple of things after the race. I mean,
Ridiculous.
he
Ridiculous.
got slightly a bit arrogant about the situation. Now, my first question to you would be: do you think that next season Perez still has a position in Red Bull?
So, so coming to, I think Lawson was just jumping onto Lawson. I feel like he's actually he was and is in a good position to look at Paris' replacement because we know Sonoda likely can race, but he's very hot headed. And I mean, you've got a battery there that we know is hot headed. And I would say Lawson disappointed me. I liked it a lot, but he disappointed me a little bit this weekend. I'm not saying he mustn't race the guys, but uh, also the way he carried on with Paris. I'm not saying they mustn't like angels and stuff. But I mean, uh, he seemed at that race very frustrated, very hot-headed, and I think that there was a side because I know one of them met up with him afterwards, and apparently it was to talk about the way he went on track. So it was a little bit disappointing because I actually thought he could be a good replacement for Perez if comes next year and Perez doesn't perform because at the moment the Perez he's not kind of off the pace, he's majorly off the pace, and I'm not sure if the Red Bull itself which we know he's off pace, or if Max just extremely outperforming the car, or if Perez is just completely, and the car, Perez is just completely off the pace, which I mean, I think it's a personally, it's between the two, but I don't see if Perez doesn't get a top three in the next, or let's get him top five in the next few races. I see that in the season. Yeah, I don't know, yeah, that's just my thing.
So I'll touch on that just now. I want to. So me and Stefan has spoken about it in last week's episode. Sorry, Stefan, I'm skipping over you slightly a little bit. I'm so sorry. But let's do this. Stefan, what Robbie is saying now, with at least a P3, would you be? Would you agree? Would you agree that he needs to get at least? But I would personally say in the top five, in order for him to kind of stay safe in his contract.
I think he needs to be in the top 10, not top 5. The last race that he did was, for me, shocking. On his home ground, um, I agree with Robbie, with Lawson. The way that Lawson did what he did was very unprofessional. I mean, at the end of the day, they are all a Red Bull family. And Lawson showed him a middle finger. So basically saying, listen, yeah, I'm taking your seat. So you need to perform. Um, but I think, and you and me had a discussion for the last 2 months about it. I think Tsunoda deserves that seat next year. Um, I mean, he's driving the wheels of the car. Uh, I mean, that guy's just as tall as me. I mean, I'm short. I'm like 1.58. He's also 1.5. It's amazing that a short person like that can see through an F1 car and drive a car like what he does. And I think Robbie will agree with me. I think Repu must give Sonoda a chance. And see what he does. Because at the end of the day, that helmet offer, or the main boss of Red Bull, there's now speculation that they want Piastri um, in 2026. So, I mean, it is crazy how the transfer market is working so. Because now Colin Pinto said today, yeah, no, I'm not going to RB. There's no rumors about it, but everywhere on the news, it's like Colin Pinto is going to RB, and I think he deserved that seat. I don't know about you guys, but yo, that guy is the next Senna for me. He is a phenomenal driver. I like him so much. Just his style. He's not, he's not aggressive, but he knows when to push the car to the limits.
Yeah, before we touch on Lawson as well, Robbie, I just have this question for you. I need to ask it. What do you think changed with Perez in the last couple of, I would say, well, actually from the beginning of the race versus beginning of the race, beginning of this season versus last season? Because I've seen it. It just seems like this guy doesn't want to be in the F1 anymore. I wanted to know from a perspective of potentially, because I do believe, although you're a Verstappen fan, you are a Red Bull fan as well.
Yeah.
Do you think he has had a bit of loss of confidence in from the beginning of the season? And what do you think would be the reason of like the confidence? Because I personally think it is confidence, 100%. I've seen him last season. I've seen him in 2021 as well, helping Verstappen to his first ever championship. It's not the same Perez anymore. I find it very, very sad because I love the guy. Me and Stefan, we've been bashing this guy like every single weekend. We've been bashing this guy so bad, telling him off. I mean, we don't cuss on this podcast at all, and if we do, we have like a little mute thingy that goes up. But we've been bashing this guy, and I'm like, Perez, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, who is this guy? It's not the same Perez anymore. And I'm finding it so annoying because I love the idea of, again, I'm a Ferrari fan. I'm going to be honest with you. But the battle in 2021 between Red Bull and Mercedes was one of the best battles that I've ever seen in my life. I'm not going to lie. Now we are seeing this battle between Norris and Verstappen, but we're not seeing Perez. And I'm like, where is this guy? He's just not the same driver anymore. Loss of confidence, personally, I think that is the situation. I don't know what it is, and whether it's maybe a team thing. Whether, maybe the team is just not having a lot of confidence in him, because I've heard Christian Horner speak about him, and they said, he said, oh no, it's just slightly. He just needs to pick himself back up again. He just needs to get that attitude of getting in front. But then it comes to the qualifying in Mexico. It comes to the qualifying in Qatar. It comes to qualifying in about 6 to 8. Well, it's been 10 races ago, and he's not just he's either falling out in Q2, and he just falls out in Q1. So Robbie, this is my question. I know I've been ranting on. We're gonna move on to a different section just now. But do you think loss of confidence, that would be the one thing? And number two, what if it's not loss of confidence? What else would you think it potentially might be?
Yeah. Well, can we just that 2021 season was actually different. I mean, we almost tell it now, and Max had periods there, which actually won for Max, so everyone, but especially with periods of how Lewis back, he really did obviously Spurs gave him matches from that time, and at that time, and that Lewis couldn't put for first half just for the second half game. So like we played a role, and he's not there to do that for Max this year, which is unfortunate because you've got Science and Leclerc that were working well together. You could see Leclerc had paces, not paces, and I think they were very even at paces, and obviously Science gave a little things. They put a bit of a gap between us. They worked well together, kept a good gap. Obviously, at some stage, I think Leclerc's tired, but in general, Piastri's been there for Norris a lot lately. Obviously, just two races, but I think he hasn't raced one of these two races much at all. I guess his second race on, so I'm not going to completely off that. My personal things, I think it's a few things, but I think it's different person from the confidence, with the confidence. I feel that's the biggest thing for me. Then I also feel like obviously the Red Bull has started falling off, and I feel I do feel Max, and not just boasting him, but I think he has one of those very few drivers. There's probably a handful of them on the grid as well that are really outstanding, and I think that from what I understand, they obviously started to change the car, and then eventually they just moved to a worse place. But obviously, with Max performing that, they were going in a better place, and going in a better direction. And then I think Warner said last year, you mentioned that they realized that they started making the wrong changes from their on. So now they're trying to stable that back to them. I'm not sure it's just things I saw, but I think unfortunately it does look like Perez. I mean, I will never forget that Perez started in a car and he was crying and he was he had his first test and everything. That's so much for his opportunity. He looks like such a guy. Just just like you say, at some stage it seems like confidence, but also he's almost in that place where he's like he doesn't want to be there anymore. Like I think he's he's it looks almost like he's got an attitude on him at the moment, but I'm not sure if it's actually if he's got an attitude or if it's actually just his way of dealing with how he's feeling inside. I guess he's not really good inside personally. It doesn't look like he's and his mind and everything.
It's
Robs, sorry, Giovanni. Robs, I want to ask you a question. Um, Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah.
Do you think he's gonna perform next season with Mercedes?
My personal opinion is I haven't seen enough data. I know Mercedes was saying they saw very good data from at Monza, but like for example, like what's his name again?
Colapinto. Colapinto, yeah.
Yeah. Like you've seen, I mean, no one's been able to stay with Albon, and now all of a sudden he comes in and he's actually proving himself, and he's sticking kind of with him. He's not saying exactly with him, but he's doing the best I've seen a fellow teammate of his in years do. So you can see Colin Winter's got potential that I haven't personally seen enough of Kenny. I mean, in the F1 car, I mean, it was such a I didn't watch him actually last week. I didn't watch F1 last week. Apparently, right? How did he do last week?
So
Yeah,
he was like at sorry Stefan on he was oh no it was during Mexico, so he was in FP1 and he ended up in 12th position with that Mercedes car. But the thing is, I hear what you're saying that there's not enough data. I think they are just putting him in the car now as well and telling him, hey, listen, go drive it and get yourself kind of like into the car. Like just get, become one with the car and see what you can and cannot do. So I don't mind him getting a P12. So Robbie, I'm just gonna let you know. So I'm Italian. So I'm just happy. Yeah. So I am just happy that we are getting an Italian guy that's gonna get into F1 again. The last person that we had was Giovanazzi. So that was the last guy we had. But the thing is, so in Monza, Antonelli crashed the car in the first corner.
Yeah.
That was that was quite sad. It wasn't the first corner. No. It wasn't the first corner. It was on his way to the main straight. I'm sorry. Apologies. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's a youngster. He is 18 years old. He is going to improve. He is going to have that first time jitters. But I can tell you now, this guy will win a championship in the next couple of years.
No, definitely.
I'm putting it out in the universe. It is going to happen 100%. 100%.
Imagine, I mean, the way that these things that they talk about as an upcoming youngster. And we've been hearing about him, honestly, for the last 2-3 years. I mean, like they were talking about Max before he came up. It was the same thing. I mean, when last time they actually, have you heard him talking about a youngster coming into sport being this exciting about something? It hasn't been like this. And they've got the data, they've got all that stuff that we don't have, which they know stuff that we don't know. So the fact that they're going on about him like the way they are, he definitely must have something special. I can't wait to see him on the track. I think he's going to be exciting. I love the fact that I love the fact that he did come there, he did crash because he was like, stop this. I'm going to come there and give it more. I'm not going to mess around and come in and be all, worry about hurting the car. So he came there, he rode, he set insane times, and he crashed and he left. That's a good attitude to have. Instead of coming there typically that stuff, he's there to race and he's there to prove himself, and that's it. Which I like about that little thing, that little concept run that they had in.
Robs, I watched the one interview with Ted Kravitz with Kimi Antonelli, and I mean, you were a professional athlete, and it's something that I never had the opportunity to ask you is psychology, sports psychology. Does it affect you?
I think it definitely affects some. I mean, you can see it with Rossi, for example. I know he jumped from F1 to rugby, but you can see with Rossi, I think he's an amazing coach and a great coach. But his coaching's got a lot to do with psychology and with like understanding the players and that stuff. And I've had a few coaches in my career and stuff like that just didn't understand me as playing, not the way I play, but mentally. And some of them will get you actually wanting to play golf, wanting to do the things, and actually get you mentally feel confident going to game. And some of them, will break it down before you even get to a game. So psychology is like it's definitely there with professional sports. I was someone obviously I had here and there with the coach and that stuff, but I almost just I'm the type of person that accepts the person for who they are. No one's all the same out there. So if someone, even if a coach or someone has a bad day, I know it's we're all human at the end of the day. So I try to not let um, a person influence myself in terms of when it comes to a coach, or the coach could have said something to you like, you use this as defense or something like that. But I also try to take it as okay, cool. I'll try and improve that, but also it doesn't come from a bad place. It doesn't come from know what's happening. You know, so yeah, um,
But I
yeah,
mean, like on the psychology part though, here's the one thing I know we're kind of touching on the weird part of F1. Like I get that, but it's also good to talk about it. I'm quite happy to talk about it. So the one thing that I hate though is some of the interviewers. It
yeah,
Oh yeah.
they do absolutely tick me off in a way that, for instance, everybody has this mate. I'm going to take Verstappen as a example. I'm also going to take Norris as an example. We can't talk about Ferrari at the moment, but I'm going to take those two people just as an example, right? Since the beginning of the season, there's been a battle between Norris and Verstappen, regardless on what track it was. We saw in Hungary, they nearly took each other out. Ended up being Verstappen and Hamilton taking each other out. So here's my thing. I hate it when they ask stupid questions to a guy that, they have this idea in mind that if you are Norris or if you are a Verstappen, that you need to win every race. And that's just absolutely bull. So now Norris would have a P4, P5. They would start asking him questions. Well, telling him, oh, but listen here, Lando, you had a bad day and this and this. And he still got a P4 or a P5. He still got enough points. Well, he still got points for the Constructors' Championship. And that's what McLaren, for instance, are aiming for at the moment. Now you have Verstappen, and Verstappen is, I mean, everybody, look at last season. He won 19 out of 24 races. It's it's insane. That's something that I've never seen before. And then asking Norris these weird questions and all that, and I'm like, you know what? If the guy had a bad race, don't break down his mentality. Congratulate him on a P4 and a P5, and congratulate McLaren on gaining on Red Bull. And now we are looking at McLaren sitting at P1 in the constructors, Red Bull sitting at P2 on the constructors, and Ferrari like, oh no, Ferrari's in second. I'm sorry, I forgot.
the
I
chase.
forgot. Ferrari's in second. I forgot. I'm sorry. Sorry if I'm yelling. Oh my goodness. I actually forgot that they were in second. But now we look at Ferrari. They're in second place. So mentality-wise, it ticks me off. I hate it when this interview is starting. They start this whole either rumor or they start this horrible conversation and not congratulating the guy. This plays on your mentality. And it's not good enough. And that's what I think happened to Perez as well. I don't think there was anybody in the Red Bull team that actually went to Perez and said to him, listen, we need you to be better. If you are having an off day, just take it out on the race. Go and race. Get us an extra point. Get us 10 extra points. Go win the race. But I don't think there is anybody in that team that's actually helping Perez because it's a Verstappen show.
Yeah.
And it kind of ticks me. I think it should come down to a point, be fair, don't be biased, and ask the right questions and build them up. Don't break them down. I mean, okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go over to something like rugby, for instance. Okay, if you had one bad game and someone points it out in an interview, you are gonna remember this interview that you had a bad game, and during the next game, you might either if you have a strong mentality, you will either shrug it off and remember it and still have a bad game again. And I think that's what's happening in F1. And that ticks me, especially, like I said, with the interviewers. So mentality-wise, I think something needs to change with everybody. And I think if you do get the win, for instance, don't be... I don't want to cuss. I don't want to cuss, but I want to cuss so bad. I'll ask my editor to mute it out. But don't be an asshole. I'm gonna say it. I'll ask my editor to cut it out. But don't be that person that kind of, oh yeah, I just won the race and all that. Like, stop. Don't do it. You won the race. Congratulations, and congratulate the other guys as well. I know it's a mentality thing, but don't do it. Like, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that's just me. That's just me thinking out loud.
I actually today was thinking. So obviously Hamilton is going to Ferrari. I think he's gonna try change Ferrari into like Mercedes, and they must give him everything. And I feel Hamilton is only doing this to beat Chewy. Uh, I feel for Carlos Sainz. I mean, now Carlos Sainz is going to Williams. It is. It was a shocker for me when Williams announced Sainz. But I feel with Adrian Newey going to Aston Martin. I saw an interview today as well. Alonso said he's gonna make a decision on his future in 2026. Um, so if Alonso retires, would you put Max in an Aston Martin?
Who's this question for?
I think it's Robbie. Robbie. That's all you. That's all you, dude.
Can I tell you something? Yeah, but I put some money for yes.
Oh, wait. You just gave a free plug. USN and Red Bull, well done. You gave a free plug. You may carry on with your conversation. I had to just say it. Unfortunately, whenever we're given a free plug, I yell it out because it is quite important. I'm sorry, because it is a free plug with USN. So I don't know if I'm allowed to do it, but because you said USN, okay, I won't put any logos or whatever. Don't worry about it. Okay, you may carry on. I'm sorry, but I had to say it. Apologies.
No. So obviously, I'm a Red Bull fan, but like I said, since the day that I know this sounds stupid and a lot of people won't do it, but I would absolutely love Max to go to Mercedes and Mercedes to stuff here, because I know it's something so different. It's like two arch enemies, you know. I feel like Toto deep down hates him, but deep down loves him as well. I feel like Red Bull's falling apart personally at the moment, with everything happening. Um, I don't know how long they're going to carry on for. So, like, yeah, Aston Martin's a good option, but and they're getting the Honda motors and stuff like that. But I mean, if I'm correct, in 2026, that Max mentioned that your power units plays a big role in the cars. And I could be wrong. I don't know what you guys heard about that, but um, and for me, we all know Mercedes power unit is extremely strong. I know you know also Ferraris, and it'll be interesting, obviously, with Ford coming in at Red Bull. I don't know. I don't know how I feel like that, but I'm also not too sure if the Red Bull's still going to be together then. But I wouldn't mind just a match to happen at Mercedes. I don't know why. I just feel like it would be such a different movie, something that maybe F1 needs, you know.
So
Near.
Max to a Mercedes.
Yeah.
What are you putting into your USN? Free plug. Free plug. Free. No, I'm joking. Dude. I mean. Okay. Look. This could be potentially the biggest thing ever. If this ever happens, that Mercedes, Verstappen goes to Mercedes, this would be major. This would be major. But this also puts it puts an opportunity into Red Bull's pocket to sign potentially two major drivers in the form of, I'm gonna say it out loud, in the form of Lando Norris and potentially George Russell.
100%.
That will be my shout.
Yeah.
It will be my shout if ever that happens. But it is 2026. I mean, there's a lot of regulation changes. The cars are going to change. We have spoken, I think it was in episode 3 or 4. I'm not too happy about the changes that are coming in. I feel like they are kind of, I don't know. I don't like the way the car's going to look. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm all about aesthetics. If the car looks beautiful, I love watching F1. I don't want to watch IndyCar. And I feel like it's going to look like an IndyCar.
Yes.
So, go ahead, Stefan.
So yesterday, me and Kayla were watching a guy that did modification on the 2026 cars. So basically, they are working on the front wing and the side ports. Um, but they say the 2026 car is going to be faster than the 2012 car, and I don't think like
I mean, you could potentially say, okay, it's fine. There's going to be major changes. They are going to be faster and whatnot. But I mean, for me personally, the idea of you being able to do the DRS with your front and rear wing, doing that the whole time, like, I don't want to watch an airplane take off because it looks like flaps like the whole time. Like I would say that's just slightly a bit bogus. I don't like the way the car looks. If it's going to perform faster, I'm happy. If it's going to give everybody a chance to be in the Constructors' Championship, no problem. Like Robbie said, when Ford comes in with the engine changes and all that, I'm okay with it. I don't know how they're going to perform against Mercedes and Ferrari and whatnot. I mean, we did see, I believe it was in 2018 or 19 when Honda came in, Red Bull had major issues from day one. So is Ford going to have the same issues? We don't know. They are changing so many things, and I don't think it's going to be good for someone like Red Bull. That's just my personal opinion. That's all I got to say about it. But I don't like the fact that the 2026 regulations are going to be that big. We move over to the next section because we have been touching on this quite a lot.
Yeah.
Valtteri Bottas, my man Bottas.
He's out.
Robbie. Yeah, okay. So Stefan, I'll get to you just now. because like you just jumped in. He's out. Like he's out. No, listen. Okay, so I have read that potentially he could be in as a third driver for Mercedes. He said that he's open for it. The discussions between Kick Sauber and him has been going on for quite a long time. I believe it's since about 4 or 5 races ago. They've been discussing whether he has a potential seat for the 2025 season. Robbie, I'm going to move over to you first, and then I'll move over to Chicken Wing. Do you think it is for his career, in specific for his career, do you think he should become Mercedes third driver, or do you think that Kick Sauber should give him another season and see what he can do with a car that they are bringing in a few changes for 2025. I think they started working on the 2025 car in the beginning of the 2024 season. So do you think Bottas should move over to Mercedes as a third driver or get another season in Kick Sauber?
Well, I think you can do that. It's not an option. I think, I would say, that's a good option. But, like, for me, I think it's a nice little move personally for him to go to Mercedes third driver, because just the fact that, it's almost similar to what Ricardo did, with Red Bull. It's almost like a good publicity stunt as well, because he's a good person to have on your team. A lot of people like him, and then also he's older than George. I don't know if they get along because I know they clashes in the past. But for him to come in as a slightly senior driver, obviously you've got George there, but even more of a senior driver as well. I don't think it's a bad move. I personally, I like Bottas as obviously that guy, but I don't know if he's actually got that extreme motivation. I don't know if he's just there because he's got his contracts and that stuff. But if he gets off the thinking with Sauber another contract, I don't think he will say no and say, "I'll rather go to Mercedes." But I also feel like they've got to make room for youngsters. Like, for example, so Victor signed it, not yet.
No, so he the speculations are
He dismissed the rumors now that there's no contact between him and RB.
yeah, but
Uh,
there is these speculations though. That's what I wanted to say. There's these speculations that there is a possibility of him going to Kick, and then taking him, and he has dismissed the rumors of the RB Cash App team. However, I'm gonna state this as follows: if Perez leaves Red Bull, and my big thing was, so Robbie, if you go watch the last episode, if you don't, whenever you have time, okay, go watch it. Go watch the full episode. It's very, very good. We did it in Afrikaans. If you need a translator, you have my number, so I'll just I'll translate. But I mean, my thing was, I said to Stefan as well that you still have someone in Daniel Ricciardo. Now, we've dismissed it last episode that we don't think Daniel Ricciardo will come back into the F1 community. He has his own branding as well called Enchante. Free plug. I'm joking. Free plug. But he has this brand called Enchante. It's his own clothing line and whatnot. Whether he will come back into a seat potentially 2025 or 2026, that is still speculation, right? But my idea was, if Perez leaves, Daniel Ricciardo gets the seat. They leave Lawson in for another season of 2025. Give Daniel a seat for 2025 up until 2026, up until the new regulations, and then have Lawson move over, or Yuki Tsunoda. I think Yuki Tsunoda is possibly a better option, but he's still very much hot-headed, so I don't know. But now Colapinto, I'm saying this, either Kick Sauber
that guy's phenomenal.
If it is a case that that Red Bull will take Lawson instead and put him in Perez's seat, I can promise you now, they will make the biggest meal. I'm stating it now. I'm putting my salary on it. Yeah. They will make the biggest meal about it, and RB will offer Colapinto a 2-year contract up until the end of 2026. He will join that team and he will perform incredibly. I can say this now. So with Colapinto, I'm hoping that he does have a seat. If he doesn't have a seat, then every single team out there that still has a seat open, which is Kick Sauber.
Yeah.
you are fools. You are absolute fools not taking this kid, because since the first race, replacing Sargent, he did perform. Colapinto, my man, if luckily this episode is in English. If ever this reaches Colapinto, well done, dude. You are a phenomenal driver. You are amazing. I don't know, Robbie. Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
I agree. I feel good, I really like Bottas, but I feel good well for the PR for Mercedes going there, and then obviously they'll have a good mixture of George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, and Valtteri Bottas as well. Like contrast, it'll be good to have him. I think he'll be happy, not needing to race again because from the cycle he uses that he likes to do. And then Colin Victor come in and kicks us out. I think you'll be to not be
Valtteri Bottas has his own YouTube calendar.
really.
Dude, like he's selling it like as in crazy.
Yeah,
I saw a photo of him once. I didn't know it was like a actual thing.
Dude, I've seen, if you go watch Drive to Survive, I think it's season 2 in Drive to Survive, dude. You can see his naked bum.
Robbie, I want to ask your personal opinion about Hamilton going to Ferrari next year.
Yeah.
Do you think he's gonna try to change Ferrari's philosophy and like the heritage and um yeah
Bro, I don't think you will ever be able to change Roman's philosophy. That whole, I think he is joining them, and they've got such a cool aura slash everything behind it. Again, the whole Italian story it's such a motorsports history that I don't think Hamilton will maybe come in and bring a bit of whatever he does, but I don't think anything can change it, because if something can change it, it'll be a sad day because,
but I mean like politic wise, like you know what I mean.
I don't think in a negative way. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to perform as well as people are saying it's amazing that he can give us opportunities out there. Like they say, where you place yourself in your F1 career is extremely important, which is very true. Because you look now, obviously Hamilton and Mercedes, they were performing, so he can't get his last titles, but he makes it to Ferrari before they start performing, and they're performing, which people obviously like the 60s, so they're coming in seven, or is
It's its eighth. It's its eighth world title. So you will surpass the legendary Michael Schumacher. So it will be his eighth.
I think he does it only to show people that he is the best F1 driver ever and try to beat Michael Schumacher's record.
You have to be the which I know many guys do that, but not on every given day it's not that easy to be persons. That's just my opinion. Obviously, we want to hear from the main Ferrari fan. What do you think?
So we had this discussion. I believe it was also like on episode 2 or 3 of F1 and Afrikaans, right, on this podcast, that I feel it was the biggest publicity stunt that we have ever seen in the history of Formula One. Having someone that made a legacy at Mercedes leave Total Wolf, leave Mercedes, and go over to go get potentially his 8th world title. Now, Robbie, I agree with you. Leclerc, it's not easy to beat. He isn't. He is driving phenomenally, like at the moment. Since the past 3 races, I believe, 3-4 races, he's been driving very, very well. My biggest concern is, and Robbie, I'll ask you this, who do you think is going to have the first seat? Will it be Leclerc or will it be Verstappen? Because I'm thinking Oh, not Verstappen. I'm sorry, Hamilton. Hamilton or Leclerc? Because I'm thinking they're gonna give Hamilton the seat. Leclerc is gonna get annoyed. He's gonna try and challenge Hamilton in every single corner there will be. They will challenge each other. So if they qualify P1 and P2 in a place like Monaco, for instance, I think these two guys are going to run each other off the track the same way at one certain point. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a Bottas and a Hamilton in the same car as well. And they used to challenge each other regardless of what day it was, what race it was, no matter what the team principal said. Coming to any single event at any single race, they they loved each other off track, but on track, they were the biggest haters ever. So let's start with this. Who's your, although you're not a Ferrari fan, who's your number one seed at Ferrari for next season?
My personal number one. I would be if I was there for Ferrari now. I would choose Leclerc. Yeah, Hamilton is there because he can bring a possible seven. But I would actually not even. This something I would actually from the get go make them decide, or not like basically give it to them, make them make a decision. Whoever's leading the points, because at the moment you've got no clue. Is he going to switch from? Is he is he going to suit? Is the third going to maybe step up his game? Maybe he's got more to take. So I would give it up for the first 5 minutes to win, and then no, not picking anyone, and let them make basically answers and sacrifice. Yeah, yeah, the bigger part of that. Like a very random thing now, jumping over to the masses obviously move with Hamilton. Because I do I also race boats and stuff, and it's quite a simple sport, but you have to start analysis. I know we'll probably get to later, I'm not too sure, but we just made like a weird move. So my uncle has come back into the sport and started bringing up boats again, and I've been helping him design new boats and stuff to basically, to bring a boat. It's very similar to like Formula One car where you change the slightest thing and that helps you cornering these situations. We had a guy at our biggest competitive boat company, and with the part of the factory race team, it was 6,000 a day, and everyone thought this guy owned, basically had a share in this company that he was working for, that he was racing for, but also boats. And like 2 weeks ago, we like kind of came out with the news that he's coming across, and like the phones and the cell phones the zonkers, because it was like people were like, "What?" It was like almost like I wanted to move, but something so small. But I was just thinking about it now. It was probably, I was saying that to someone the other day. It's probably one of the biggest moves in both races in history. By what happened there, and this is exactly how the Hamilton with going to Ferrari. I know there was these talks, and I thought there was talks about it happening, and it's just happening. So I can't wait for next season. I think I'm super excited.
Giovanni, I must tell you, the first race that Giovanni, oh sorry, Robbie did, he had my chicken wing logo on, and it was for me the best time to get that exposure. Kan julle my hoor?
Yeah. Carry on.
Hoor.
Yes.
And that's actually I wanted to ask Robbie about this boat racing. With do you get like G-force when you on the rubber duck, or what do you call it?
Yeah, the big sausage. Yeah. Well,
The boat.
yeah, I know. Obviously, I sorry I took this off conversation from F1 to floating it's nice to kind of mix and match and kind of compare in the way. Because the biggest thing about the boating is that, which is very nice, is that obviously you get F1. which you dial in, and then it's the millimeters that you take as a corner, and with the boat race, we obviously have, when it comes to a track, the track changes every time you go around because the waves change, the fishes change. You know, so you'll run one lap where the wave will be a big set. Then the next lap will come around where the set will be breaking to the right hand side, so you have to take a left line. Then you go around again, you come again, and you jump from the back. So the kind of change, which is making exciting. But yeah, yeah, it's quite an exciting boat racing thing, and with putting your name on the thing, I think it was the chance put your logo on there. You know, it's, it was nice to set it up. Extremely happy, and you were very appreciative.
Yeah, no.
Robbie, maybe next time you can have the podcast logo on.
That's it. 100%.
We can definitely like maybe arrange something or something. We can.
He's doing
Come and have a
he's
call.
doing he's doing the nationals next year. So
Yeah, we've got national, so we've got a race, which is quite a big race here in Louw. I think the 17th, 18th, the weekend of that. But in between two times, I'm on a race. But my fiance, she's been overseas now for the last 2 months. She's been out for 3 months. And she's come back the weekend before that. And, so I'm going to see if I can get out.
You know what? If you do it, from the podcast side, we do wish you a lot of luck, my man. Because I mean, that would be quite big. I mean, so I also hear what you're saying about like the sport as well. It's the same as F1. Like all these kind of things changes. I mean, I think I know I'm gonna like veer off as well, the same way you guys kind of did with like the boating thing. But I think that's sport just brings a lot of communities together, and I think it's so great as well, and it brings everybody joy. The same with the podcasting as well. I mean, I don't do any sport. Unfortunately, I'm either too lazy or too unfit. So I'm gonna be fairly honest with you. So it's. I mean, Robbie, if you do go do it, man, from the podcast side, we do wish you like a lot of luck. But I just want to like move over a few more questions before we end this podcast, because I got to be honest with you, we've been going on for close to an hour now, and I believe I still have like a couple of questions, and let me go ahead. So, we are looking at. Let me rather say this. We're looking to a new season. Zhou Guan Yu at Kick Sauber. Obviously, I don't think we're going to see this guy anymore. So, what would you guys think would be the next venture for him? Do you think he should maybe go into either like rally cross or something like that?
Definitely, you can answer that, and then I'll give you.
Stefan?
I think he must do rally. Definitely rally. Or even rally cars. But the thing is, the way that rally cars is going on now, it's all electrical. Electrical cars is, yeah. It sounds so weird because Kilani lost the sponsorship because of the poor attendance that they had last year. So, um, I mean, Robbie was at the Formula E. I think it brought in more than 200 million rand for Cape Town, and now suddenly they don't want to do event again in Cape Town. So, but the next big event is in May. The Safari Valley in Sunset. Yeah, I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Robbie,
massive.
what would you say about Zhou Guan Yu possibly going to rallies?
I actually quite like that. Unfortunately, obviously, it seemed like it was not too bad at some stage. Results, I think, has he been there for 3 years now? Around.
It is like, I think it's either between 2 or 3 years. But now my thing is, sorry, I'm gonna let you go just now. I love the guy. I really do. He has tenacity. there's just something about the guy that brings in. I want to say his attitude just brings in like a smile on your face, regardless if he does bad, every race. But I mean, you can't really blame him. You should, the blame shifts to the car.
Yeah.
It does shift to the car. So I'll move over to you real quick. Where do you think you should go? Do you think you should stay in Kickstarter, or do you think you should move on to a different venture, possibly doing either a rallycross or maybe, I want to say this, maybe go to Dakar. It's weird to say, but go into like a Dakar rally.
D'accord.
Like, it's actually, I think obviously whatever obviously is Chinese, and I don't know what's specifically, I would say, specific, obviously to F1, in Europe and those places, Australia and all that's big and second to, you've got, I don't know, actually, France at some stage for that, but I'm not sure, in China, did he grow up there? I'm not too sure. We're not too sure.
He did karting in China, I believe. So I mean, he has karting behind his name.
Yeah.
I think, look, every single driver in F1, regardless of who you are, they started with karting. I mean, from your Maxes to your Joe Guan Yu's, everybody started with karting. I believe he was in China doing karting, and then he moved from point to point. I think he also joined like a Europe League or something like that. I think he stayed like in Europe for a couple of years doing karting there as a youngster with I think it was with his father. That's if I remember correctly. Please don't quote me on this, but that's what I've heard like a couple of seasons ago. But I mean, I'm gonna ask you a straightforward question. We'll just go with that, Robbie. Do you think you should stay in Kick Sauber? Just a yes or no.
Option, I would say yes. If he, I mean, he's got nothing to lose. Maybe they do make some change or something like that. You got the option, it would be lovely to have but yeah, I mean, if not, it'll be sad to lose it like that because I'm giving full chance. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so now it's coming to that time, boys. It's time for me to say.
I love it.
Here we go.
Love it.
Here we go. So I'm gonna yell because my editor said I should do it and get happy about it. A P1 and a P3 for Ferrari at Mexico. Like, let's go! So I want to say this, and I need to say it. I was very happy to wear brown pants in the third to last lap, okay, where Leclerc nearly hit the barriers. And my brown pants saved me for multiple reasons. One, where I nearly, again, I'm not going to cuss, but I nearly shat myself. Editor, edit this out. Where I nearly, booed myself. It was this close. I was sitting this close to my screen, and I was like, don't lose points now, please. Just don't lose points. So I want to say the following. Carlos Sainz for the P1, phenomenal drive from him. From start to finish, he was absolutely crazy, running away up until 13 seconds. 13 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. And then he made this comment. He said, I think we are pushing too hard. Of course you're pushing too hard because you're 13 seconds ahead, my guy. It was crazy. I've never seen Ferraris run this good in a season like this. It was hot in Mexico. Phenomenal drive from Sainz. A very awesome drive from Charles Leclerc as well. And from Norris catching up to Leclerc within that 7-second marker. That was something phenomenal. But I want to ask you guys this. I'll start with Robbie. I'll move over to my main man, Stefan. How do you feel about the Ferraris kicking ass over Mexico?
Right. You know what? I'm actually trying for it because again, Ferraris is fine. I mean, not tracking. If they're not doing well, they're fine. You know, not saying everyone's not doing well, but you know, I don't think there's a single F1 sport that is not for you know. So it's so nice to actually see them just being up there, you know, and not just being up there, being close to winning a race and being competitive. They're actually kicking ass, as you say. And I mean, the funniest thing, you know, there's all about upgrades. Everyone's talking about the big upgrades in the US Grand Prix. I mean, Texas and Ferrari was almost actually that no, they did upgrades and they were 60,000 within. So that's also it's also I'm just happy to see the like the rest of the season. I think it's extremely exciting.
I want to tell you guys something. When I was young, I every time I was watching the F1 car launches, and I did not knew that they were allowed to upgrade their car or their parts or the engine or the suspension and stuff like that. I mean, now if you look like what Ferrari did with the with the side parts, man, that's next level. Like that engineering, it's amazing. I think Ferrari's going into the right direction. Um, I feel I feel that we're gonna have a situation as 2021 with Hamilton and Max, but Max and Lando.
It's gonna come down to the final. It's gonna come down to the final, and obviously, I'm saying this with a very smirky smile on my face because I'm such a Ferrari fan. But Ferrari could potentially win the constructors championship, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. We are gonna see a 2021 up until the end because it's now currently at this very moment before we move over to Brazil. It's a three-way battle. It's a three-way battle between McLaren. We have Ferrari in second. We have Red Bull in third. So
I feel like Red Bull's up by the way. So I feel like they're up at the moment. Sorry,
Yeah, they
it's a bit low, but I think the biggest battle is between McLaren and Ferrari. Unless there is some big something in Louisiana, but like, yeah.
so that's what I wanted to touch on real quick. I'm not gonna bash him too much again. Place Paredes photo here. Um, so apparently, Helmut Marko and Christian Horner had a conversation with Perez, and they told him with the very next race, he needs to be in a top five. There is no other way. If he's not in the top five, he could potentially lose his contract. They said that it is a cutthroat, not only a cutthroat sport, but it's been a cutthroat season, knowing that there is potential stars that could take over his seat easily, like a Liam Lawson, like a Yuki Tsunoda, or potentially, I'm going to say this here, put photo here, Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo possibly coming back. So I still think that Perez is going to find his groove within Brazil. He kind of loves Brazil in a way. I think Qatar is going to be a tough race. I think Las Vegas is going to be a tough race. And I think he's kind of okay with Abu Dhabi, like he's all right with it. But I do think he's going to bring points to the board. Don't write him off. That's my thing. Don't write him off. I think he is still someone that should be in a car, 100%. And I told Chicken Wing as well in last week's episode that I personally think he's just having an off season. There's a lot of factors that could play to it. We've touched on a few, but I do think he's possibly just having a very, very bad season. This season could change for him. Well, possibly next season could change for him, and he he could potentially lose his seat for the new season, which wouldn't be great because again, when I didn't see Daniel Ricciardo's name on the listing with the Koto Grand Prix, I was like, I wanted to cry so bad. But now also, if you don't see Perez's name, come on, this guy is still kind of a legacy. I love the guy. Like he's still so cool. He's such a talent. I think he's just having a bad season, but there was talks. Unfortunately, he could potentially lose his seat. There could be a possible Liam Lawson or Yuki Tsunoda moving into his seat, opening a spot for in the RB Cash App team. And I don't think he does want to quit now. He's still very, very good. He just needs to find his groove, and that's the only thing I'm gonna say. This is my last thing that I would say about Perez. But Perez, if ever this reaches you within the next couple of days, please focus. Please stop. Please drive the car better. I need you just to stay. I don't know why. In fact, if you don't stay, I want to say this. Christian Horner, bring back my man Daniel Ricciardo. He's sitting at home waiting for the call, and he'll be better. Trust me, he will be better. Robbie, I don't know how you feel about that situation. Do I don't know. Let's do this. You said Red Bull is out because of the Perez thing. So you think it would be a final battle? Who will win? In your opinion, who will win the Constructors' Championship of 2024?
So what's the point of this race at the moment? Do you know the most of the
It's Littleton. I'm not gonna say it exactly because I don't want to jinx it. Because I'm a Ferrari fan, I don't want to jinx it. But let's say this: it's little to nothing. It could potentially come down to the final race. Because unfortunately, Piastri didn't qualify very good. So he did pick up a lot of places during the race, which is good. But let's say this: the points difference is little to none. It could potentially come down to. So let's do this. If you had to fast forward yourself to Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the final Grand Prix, I think it's like on the 3rd December of this year.
Yeah.
Do you think Ferrari will take it as Constructors' Champion, or do you think it will be McLaren, since I think it's like 1998 or something like that? It's like a ridiculous it's like a millennia ago. It's like so many years ago since last McLaren actually took the Constructors' Championship. So let's do that. Do you think Ferrari or McLaren will take the final?
So I know PSV is good at developing. I think they're 25 last year. So just in general, to think of that, and then there's some tracks that I know he's not used to, and you can see that in his last 2 tracks. But if I could say, I would maybe. I'm hoping for a relatively performance. I hope to track their style and their car. I hope they can keep their performance. If they can keep their performance, I think you can see Carlos Sainz coming in and trying to show Ferrari what you've lost. So he's giving 200%. We know that Leclerc is 200%. It's just like 2 guys that are sitting in motivated with everything. I know Norris is badly Max. He could be focusing on that. We actually with some tracks. I think I would say Ferrari.
Stefan, what do you think, buddy?
It's gonna moeilijke race wees. It's gonna be a difficult. It's gonna be it's gonna be like a MMA fight. It's gonna be more so. Especially if Max gonna take the penalty for the engine. Yeah, I think Lando is gonna win the sprint for this weekend, and then yeah.
But wait. We'll talk about the sprint just now, okay? Just give me, if you had to fast forward to Abu Dhabi, who's winning the Constructors' Championship? Not the World Championship, just Constructors' Championship. Think clearly, because you do have a Ferrari shirt on. Wait. You do have a Ferrari shirt on. Think clearly. So who wins it? This guy. I have to podcast with him, and he has a Ferrari shirt on, and he's just saying McLaren. That's horrible. So disappointing. Okay, so Robbie, at the end of every single podcast, we do come down to the following. So I'm gonna ask you. We'll start off with you first. Then I'll move over to Stefan, and then I'll give you my predictions. Give me your race predictions for the race in Brazil. Give me your top five. So we'll start with P1, P2, P3, and then you'll give me a P4 and P5. We also do, kind of do this thing where we do a wild card. So a wild card would be you throw in a stupid name, let's say into the top six mixes, and we will see. Let's say if you do win, oh well, if you are correct and that person is in the top six, I'll I don't know. I'll send you I'll buy you the book of bottles and you can hang it against your wall, like the calendar thing. I'll buy you that and I'll send it to your place. So please give me your P1, P2, and P3, and straight afterwards your P4 and P5 with a wild card in P6.
Okay. So I'm going to go with Norwich P1. And even though I say this, that doesn't mean I understand. Like one of the Ferraris P2, and then the actually P3, but I'm trying to beat for I would say the P2, and yeah, so that's what I'm just going with for now. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. Yeah, the was right. That kind of said struggling to take it. And that was just my experience. And I'm just top five.
So give me your P4, P5, and then a P6.
Okay, cool. So like four, I'd say science. And then let's put Hamilton normally that's quite well in Brazil, even though they're struggling with Mercedes. And then my wild card is Paris. Now, my wild card is I'm probably going to go with
Pinto.
I want to say I was also going to be something different and say what's his name? Not Nico, but
Kevin Magnussen.
Kevin Magnussen.
Okay, so yeah, so I wanted to touch on that as well. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ship now, kind of.
No.
But it was a phenomenal race for the horses. It was in overall it was a phenomenal race for Haas. The one thing that's kind of boggling my mind now is that why didn't they perform that good under Gunther Steiner? That's the one thing for me. I'm just gonna throw my hands in there. So congratulations to Haas. We didn't touch on it too much. I know we were kind of touching on like a here and there. But yeah, no, Haas. You putting Haas at 6. That's a good shot. I think I should maybe just buy the book now already because I do think Brazil might change a few things. Stefan, your P1, P2, and P3, buddy, with a P4, P5, and a wild card.
Norris, Max, Leclerc, Sainz, Russell, and Colapinto.
So you are putting Colapinto quite high again. Knowing that
he's the next singer, my brother.
Yeah, but also knowing that this would be his first Brazilian race. That's my big thing. Yeah. It will be his first race in Brazil as well. So I mean, it's a wild card. It's good that you guys are throwing in wild cards as well. I'm a big fan of the Haas wild card. I'm not gonna lie, because I wanted to put someone in Haas as well, quite high up. Seeing that Kevin Magnussen actually qualified first last season. He qualified first in Brazil. So what happened was, if you didn't watch the race, I dare you to go. I'm probably going to do this as a free plug now as well. But go on to F1 TV if you have the F1 TV app. Go on to F1 TV or even go on YouTube. Type in 2023 Brazilian Grand Prix qualifying. You will find that Kevin Magnussen qualified in first. In fact, what I'll do is I'll ask my editor to put the video in here now, whereby he asked his engineer, "What position are we in?" And the engineer went,
Yeah, yeah, I
he went
remember.
like, "We are in P1, mate." And he said, "No, you're kidding." And he said, "Don't celebrate yet, so don't celebrate yet," and whatnot. And then the rain came, and then everybody was on inters, and he actually qualified in P1. He climbed out of the car, and everybody was like, the emotions was just awesome. Like all of these emotions, they were just hugging him. He was like banging on the car, and he was like jumping and all that. So you, Robbie, you putting Haas up there, my man, I'm gonna commend you for it, and you will find your calendar. I don't know where I'm. It's gonna probably cost me a couple of P's, but I mean, I'll send you the calendar. So my current predictions for the Brazilian Grand Prix would be, and I'm gonna be biased. I'm gonna put Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris. If Verstappen, no, I'm gonna do. Okay, let's do it. Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, Piastri. That's up until 4. My
What
P5.
the hell, bro?
my my P5, I'm gonna do a Hamilton, and my wild card is gonna be someone that I don't like at the moment, and I've admitted it last episode as well. But I am gonna put Liam Lawson at P6. That is my wild card for the races. I think he is going to perform very well. He has a lot of shoes to fill. He wants to show everybody that he actually deserves that seat, and I think that is going to be my predictions. I do not see Verstappen, if he takes the penalty, he's not going to be anywhere. Unfortunately, Brazil has 2 overtaking zones, and I think it's just after turn 2 on the main, on the first straight, and then on the main straight leading up to, let's say, the start. I don't think there's going to be a lot of overtakes. I think it's going to be quite a difficult race as well. And apparently, I just wanted to just throw that in here. I'll put the weather report right here. So there is a possibility for a lot of rain. A lot of rain.
It's always raining in Brazil. So
But that brings Max into play again. I actually forgot about the penalty, and they've almost certainly going to get that. But I wonder what they'll do, obviously, with the rain. But once the rain, that's where I'll change my predictions. But we can always talk about that another time. But
So with the rain though, obviously we could see a couple of safety cars, which is which is there. So I get what you're saying, that it still throws him into the points, but I don't think into the high points. So I would say personally about between P10 and let's say P7, but not higher than that. I think it's going to be a massive battle straight to the end, and I think that's something that we should look out for. So anyways, Robbie, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been such a pleasure. It's been such an honor for you, for us, and we thank you for joining the podcast. When Stefan told me that you are coming on, I was very, very excited. I was, meeting a fellow, a fellow fan as well. It makes it quite fun for this episode. We do thank you. We hope you have a good week, and we do hope that you enjoy the Brazil Grand Prix, man.
thank you very much.
and from my side, Robs, good luck for next year with your rubber duck national championship. Um, you can use me as your pit crew anytime. And yeah, good luck for next year, brother. Only good things gonna come through. And yeah, thank you again for taking this time and doing this podcast with us. It means a lot to us, and yeah, we can't wait. We can't wait for F1 to come to South Africa. I think it's gonna be something special. It's something that we as a racing community has been working so long just to get F1 here. So hopefully 2026,
Let's
and
hope,
you must have
let's hope
you must have
looks like he's making some big moves. So thanks guys so much. Honestly, it was really like chatting with you guys. Like we can get together and check in maybe at the end of the season, and talk about the last few races and yeah. Thanks guys for having me. It was really like chatting, and we'll we'll carry on with that and get one soon.
And just from our side to everybody and everybody that's watching this episode, thank you for watching. And this season is leading up to one of the best seasons that we've seen so far, except for 2021, where there was this major controversy. It's coming down to the finals. Everybody is going to go down to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We do thank you for watching this episode, and we'll see you in Brazil. Cheers, everybody.